I'm Mark Kobrick, and this is the Arvada Mayoral and City Council Candidates Forum. The goal of this forum is to present the views of the candidates for Arvada Mayor and City Council in a fair, nonpartisan fashion so that you, the voter, can make an informed decision. All candidates whose names will appear on the ballot have been invited to participate in this forum. The League of Women Voters of Jefferson County is sponsoring the forum. The views expressed here will be those of the candidates, however, not the views of the Jefferson County League of Women Voters. The Jeffco League of Women Voters has provided all of the questions for the candidates. The League takes no stand in support of or opposition to any of the candidates. Our forum is divided into 4 sections. One forum for mayor and one for each of 3 city council races. Each forum will be about a half an hour long. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes for an opening statement and 1 minute for closing statements. I will ask as many questions as time will permit, and each candidate will have the chance to respond to each question with a 2-minute limit per response, and they will take turns answering first. If a candidate is called into question, a 45-second rebuttal will be offered prior to the closing statements. This is the forum for the mayoral race. The mayor is elected at large, so all residents will have an opportunity to vote for the next mayor. There are 3 candidates for mayor, and we will meet them now. Dave Palm, Mark Williams, and Harriet Hall. Thanks to all of you for your time tonight. So let's proceed to opening statements. Please introduce yourself and tell us why you want to be the mayor of Arvada. And Dave, you will go first. Your opening statement, if you please.
Thank you. My name is Dave Palm. I'm a lifelong resident of Arvada, graduated from Arvada High School as a Redskin. I'm running for mayor because I want to play a role in keeping Arvada a great place to live, and I believe that I can bring some common sense ideas to our city government, including creating an ombudsman to resolve issues and problems that citizens have with the city, new revenue sources, like legalizing the retail sale of marijuana in Arvada and using the resulting revenue for street repair, call it pot for potholes. Also, I believe we should make it easier for citizens to place issues on the ballot. Anyone that has known me for longer than about 10 minutes knows that I say what I think, not what I think people want to hear, and that sometimes comes across as heartless or insensitive. I don't do political speech like collaborative planning, evidence-based practices, multifaceted issues. I just don't do it. That's my opening speech.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. And now to Mark. And Mark, you will have 1.5 minutes for your opening statement, if you will.
Thank you very much. I'm Arvada Mayor Mark Williams, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum tonight. I also want to thank my wife, Luann, my family, and my friends for all their support that they've given me through the years. I came to Arvada in 1979 as a law clerk for the law firm where I continue to practice today, and I never left Arvada. I served 10 years on the County Library Board and helped bring Stanley Lake Library to Arvada. Following that, I served 12 years on the Arvada City Council as a council member at large. In the last 8 years, it has been my privilege and honor to be the mayor of this incredible city. I'm respected by my peers, who selected me to be president of the Colorado Municipal League, and if re-elected, I will become chair of the Metro Mayor's Caucus. While it's been important for me to work on regional issues, such as traffic, attainable housing, and the homelessness issue, I have always kept my focus on the issues most important to Arvada. That's why I helped bring 3 new community police stations to Arvada. That's why I've been a champion and will continue to be a champion for the Gold Line. That's why I helped bring Red Rocks Community College to Arvada and expand support for local businesses and large and small businesses. Please check me out at markwilliamsformayor.com. I'm proud of my role in helping this community be as special as it is. It's a great day in Arvada.
Mark, thank you. Harriet, your opening statement, if you will, please. 1 minute, 30 seconds.
For 34 years, I provided collaborative and visionary leadership to Jefferson Center for Mental Health. I have the proven and trusted leadership skills that Arvada needs to be a vibrant and cohesive community, as well as a collaborative partner with other regional governments, like I did when Jefferson Center stepped up to the plate to continue detox services when Arapahoe House closed its doors. I've been a resident of Arvada since 1988, and I'm running for mayor because I love Arvada. I have worked to support the Arvada community for years, involved in a range of activities from rezoning the Stocky-Walter Historic District, planning for the G-Line, serving on the Citizens Capital Improvement Committee and the Arvada Sustainability Advisory Committee, and serving as a member of the Board of Community Table. It's time for Arvada leadership to focus on responsible development, including new housing projects and infrastructure that's both sustainable and attainable. We need to address the issues of homelessness and affordable housing in Arvada. We need to address the issues of the Jefferson Parkway and be responsive to the widespread health concerns and safety concerns of our citizens. We need to find new and innovative ways to bring our city together as one community, and as your mayor, I will lead those efforts.
All right, Harriet, thank you. We'll move to questions now, and I should remind you that each candidate has 2 minutes to respond to each question, and I should also mention that the candidates tonight are seated on the panel in ballot order. There's no special magic to this. Our questions tonight, of course, as I mentioned, are courtesy of the League of Women Voters, and they are in the room tonight as well. And so, Mark, you will get the first question. What do you believe is the top challenge facing the city of Arvada today, and how would you address this challenge? 2 minutes.
Thank you, League, for that question. It is an important issue. I think the issue that's most central to Arvada right now is transportation and the congestion that we're feeling, which is causing a lot of the grief that people feel about growth in the community. And I've been a champion for that issue on the local level, the regional level, and the state level. We've got to spend more money on our roads. We've got to make our roads more efficient, and we're doing that through efforts that I'm helping with here at the city. Our city council has correctly decided that we should spend a lot more money on our roads than we did in the past. We're now spending approximately $10 million on our roads. We need to up that even higher, and we're going to do that. On the regional level, I've been working with the Metro Mayor's Caucus and the Colorado Municipal League on ways that we can try to get regional funding for our roads, because Arvadans don't just drive in Arvada, they drive throughout the region. And so by trying to get additional funding for our roads at the regional level, that's going to help address that concern as well. We want folks to be able to get home more quickly to their families, to get to the soccer matches, to get to and from the grocery store, to get to and from work, to be able to enjoy the quality of life that we all love here in Arvada by not having to spend so much time in a car. And as someone who has suffered, as many of you have, I got a blowout tire on a Colorado Department of Transportation roadway. It's pretty frustrating. So we've got to put our emphasis on that. I helped on the statewide effort. It was unsuccessful with the ballot issue for a sales tax increase, but we're not stopping there, and we'll continue to work on that. That's why it's important that I be reelected as mayor, because I have the contacts, I've made the contacts, and I can work regionally, statewide, and locally on that important issue.
All right, Mark, thank you. Harriet, you're next in the order. The question again, what do you believe is the top challenge facing the city of Arvada, and how would you address it? 2 minutes for you.
So I would agree with many things that the mayor said about transportation, but I would actually identify the top issue facing Arvada as an issue of connectedness for our city. As I've gone around and been canvassing, knocking on doors, talking to residents, I find that there are different issues in different parts of the city, and that people do not feel connected to each other. The folks in our northwest area, because of many of the transportation issues that we've talked about here, feel like it takes forever to get to the G-Line, forever to get to Old Town, forever to get to wherever their jobs are, and that has to do with the transportation and the needs not being met. The people in southeast Arvada feel like they've been neglected. I was canvassing on a street that actually had a tree growing out of a crack in the road. That's how bad some of the roads in southeast Arvada was. And there's a real lack of sidewalks and connectivity as well. We need to figure out how to pull our city together so that folks feel a part of it, so that they feel connected to each other, and so that they feel connected to our government. And I think the way to do that has to do with transparency, being more open with citizens about what is going on, and real two-way communication. Two-way communication that includes listening as well as communicating. And I think I can stop, not take my full 2 minutes.
All right, Harriet, thank you very much. Dave, same question for you. Top challenge facing the city and how you plan to address it.
I think the top challenge facing Arvada is kind of twofold, development and growth. Our growth over the last few years has been spurned by the Arvada Urban Renewal Authority, whose chief goal seems to be to build all the high-density housing we possibly can in and around Old Town, which creates the traffic problems that we talk about. It also doesn't help the homeless issues that we talk about. And I think the way to solve this is to put urban renewal back in the box it belongs in. Urban renewal was created to end slum and blight in our city. The slum and blight is gone. Unlike the chairman of the Urban Renewal Authority, Maureen Fair, this is not supposed to be the development arm of the city. And I think taking urban renewal out of the mix and allowing the free market to grow the city will solve an awful lot of our problems.
All right, Dave, thank you. Harriet, our next question goes to you first. That question is, Arvada is a great place to live, work, and play. As mayor, what will you do to ensure that the city of Arvada continues to thrive?
Well, I think that there are a couple of issues that are facing us that we are going to need to combat, or they are going to get in the way of our thriving. I'm talking about, first off, attainable and affordable housing, and the fact that right now our kids can't afford to stay in Arvada. They are leaving. Our seniors are having more and more trouble either staying in their homes or downsizing to something that they can handle better than the big homes that they have that are now sitting empty because of the housing prices. And there are definitely things that the city can do to help address that. That whole issue relates then to the whole issue of homelessness. And I know that our local businesses, as well as our citizens who have some compassion for what they see on the streets, are concerned about the increases in homelessness in our community. I think we need to address that in a multitude of ways. I know Dave doesn't like the word multifaceted, but it really is a multifaceted problem where we need to, in addition to the issue of affordable housing, we need to address the services that people need to become either sheltered or hopefully have homes to actually have a place to live that they can call their own. And unfortunately, over the last 8 years, or probably longer, but the city has not put any of its investments into affordable housing. We've put investments into high-end housing, we've put investments into retail, but we really haven't put investments into housing our citizens.
All right, Harriet, thank you. Now, Dave, the same question to you. Arvada, a great place to live, work, and play. As mayor, what will you do to ensure that the city continues to thrive?
I think in order for the city to thrive, one of the key issues is to get the city government out of the growth in the private sector. We talk about affordable housing, which obviously is a big hot button issue for everybody. Affordable is a term usually used for housing that is kept below market rates by some sort of subsidy, some sort of government program. Every home in Arvada is affordable. All you have to do is earn it. Nobody started in Arvada in the big houses. I think it's unfair to the citizens that have built these homes over the last 30 or 40 years to turn around and then take their tax money and subsidize somebody else to have a home that they haven't really worked for to the extent that the long-term residents have. That's my answer.
All right, thank you very much, Dave. Mark, Arvada, a great place to live, work, and play. What will you do to ensure that the city of Arvada continues to thrive?
Well, if reelected, I'll continue to do what we've been doing to make this such a great community. It starts with economic development. Your quality of life begins with a job, and if we have a good, strong opportunity for employment in our community, that's a great start. So to keep our business community healthy is certainly part of that answer. Yes, we want to have attainable housing, and I'll disagree with Ms. Hall that we have indeed made investments into attainable housing. In fact, this last Monday night, we had a discussion about an investment of over $500,000 that was made several years ago while I was on council specifically for that purpose. I'm going to be testifying on the 30th before CHAFA on on a housing project for below-income individuals. We're looking at opportunities for micro-housing. We're looking at which would be a lower-cost alternative for folks. We're also looking, and I've testified before the legislature on the issue of construction defects so that we can make housing more affordable with townhomes and condos for our citizens. So yes, I think we are addressing the housing issue. Part of what makes Arvada such a special place is that we have an incredible police department. And I'm very proud of the work that we've done over the years to make sure that we have a terrific team that's with the police department. And we can't ignore this issue of homelessness, because that could be a dangerous situation, particularly for Old Town. And I'm proud of what we're doing in terms of having a navigator program that's being run through the county and with the cities on that to assist people who are homeless. We're also having social workers with our police officers to help those individuals who want to be helped. But at the same time, we've got a police department that recognizes that if laws are being broken, those individuals need to be dealt with. We don't need to become Seattle.
Mark, thank you. All right, Dave, the next question goes to you first in our order, and that question is, as the city of Arvada continues to grow, how will you address the challenge of its aging roads and its increased traffic? 2 minutes.
A very good question, and one of my pet projects. Arvada does not allow the retail sale of marijuana. If we follow the pattern of cities like Edgewater and Mountain View, the revenue from the retail sale of marijuana, highly regulated retail sales locations, Edgewater was able to repave all 12 miles of their city streets with 1 year's revenue. The second year, they built a brand new City Hall, library, City Hall, and Police Department building, all with the revenue generated by what I call pot for potholes. No borrowed money. I spoke with the Edgewater Chief of Police when he was here after he talked to City Council the other night, and the police department is totally on board because state law regulates these locations to a point where there are no law enforcement issues. The people are buying the product somewhere, they're using it in Arvada, and where they buy it has nothing to do with how much of it is being used. So it's free money in my mind. It's money that's now going to Edgewater, now going to Mountain View and other municipalities that would ease the burden on our street repair, strictly using the money for maintenance only, not for new streets, not for buildings, not for equipment, not put the money in general fund, but strictly for repairing and maintaining our existing streets.
All right, Dave, thank you. Now the same question to you, Mark. As the city continues to grow, how will you address the challenge of aging roads and increased traffic?
Well, I've talked about that previously as part of this discussion. I will respond to the issue of pot for potholes and indicate that, frankly, I don't think the citizens of Arvada want to have retail sales or grow operations of marijuana in this city. That's the message I've heard continually over the years, and that continues to be my position. And frankly, when you look at Edgewater or Mountain View, those are very small communities. When you've got a city the size of Arvada, the retail sales tax revenue for marijuana sales is not going to solve the issue, and I don't think that's the approach to take. I'm proud of the work we took in terms of passing 3F, which gave us bonded money to be able to widen 72nd Avenue, take care of the grade separation at that location, and also to provide funding for Ralston Road. Those are projects that are in the works, that will be coming online, that will greatly assist us. I'm also proud of the work that we did in addressing, frankly, a CDOT problem at 72nd and Indiana. We've got that intersection done, and that is greatly improving the flow of traffic through that. You've already heard me say that we are increasing dramatically how much money we're spending on road maintenance, and if I'm reelected, we will continue to do so, because I think that really is the #1 priority for our citizens. And as we look at other options, certainly I will continue my work on a regional basis for opportunities for revenues to come into our city and other communities for regional roadways and our local roadways. So I'll continue to do the work that we've been doing. We're also working, and I've had recent discussions with the former director of CDOT on how we can better time our traffic lights. We're using a pretty antique system with timing, and there's much better technology, and we've got a committee at the city that's looking at smart streets, smart communities, and that's going to be part of the answer as well.
All right, Mark, thank you. Harriet, to you now. As the city of Arvada continues to grow, how will you address the challenge of aging roads and increased traffic?
Well, I'll start out by agreeing with the issue of the timing of traffic lights. I do think that that's an issue that we really do need to look at, particularly there's some issues right now, and there's a forum actually going on tonight that I'm sorry to be able to miss, related to the traffic lights along Grandview related to the G line. So those are definitely issues that we need to address, and we need to look at how to fix some issues that are where we have holdups or we don't need to have them. But I think that the traffic issue has really been an issue of prioritization for the city, and that the city has not prioritized the dollars that are needed. And we have a tremendous backlog of repairs that are needed. So this has to do with how we do our budgeting, how we do our prioritization, and how we do our strategic planning. And I think all of those things need to be a part of the solution to this particular issue. We have had a tremendous, in terms of road, the connectivity and the roads between here and the northeast or the northwest part of Arvada, I think we've had a tremendous focus on the Jefferson Parkway and to the not paying attention to the other roads that are really needed much more than the citizens, and have been needed for some time. So I think we need to change that focus. And I think that we've had two different issues related to roads go before the voters in the last few years, and one was voted down and one was passed. And the one that was passed, I think, was much clearer to the citizens what they were going to get. There's an issue of trust and transparency there, where when people understand what something is going to be used for, and when they trust their government, then they will tend to vote for a bond issue that's needed for roads.
All right, Harriet, thank you. And by the clock, I see the candidates have been very generous with their time. So before I move to closing, I will ask the League's permission. May I ask a general news question and give each candidate 45 seconds before we move to closing? Everyone in agreement. All right, so we'll use the original order of questioning. So, Mark, you will be first, and I'm curious to know, as you have campaigned, because I've been picking the issues so far in my questions, what are the citizens of Arvada telling you is the most pressing concern for them going forward?
You know, generally what I've been finding, both in canvassing, talking to neighbors, talking in the community, talking to business leaders, is that people are really pretty happy here in Arvada. And so, you know, and I understand that when you have people running against you in an election, they have to try to sort of say things, the sky is falling, and it's certainly not. I think the important issue is indeed transportation and the concerns about congestion, which I think are really intertwined issues. And we're addressing it. We'll continue to address it. I think I'm in the best position to help lead us for the next 4 years on that area.
Harriet, transportation and congestion or other issues that you're hearing from voters?
I think that the issues that you hear from voters, first of all, they're not all telling me that they're happy with things, and they really differ. In southeast Arvada, why it really does have to do with the condition of the roads. In northwest Arvada, it has to do with connectivity and the fact that the roads are so crowded, and transportation is such a difficult issue. There is a definite sense that people in Arvada are concerned about the linkage between the city and the citizens, and the communication that they get. I hear that. There's no one single issue. It really depends on who you're talking to.
All right, Dave, finally you. What are you hearing from voters as you campaign?
A lot of what I'm hearing, most of what I'm hearing, and this is in talking to people in and around Old Town, is the issue of homelessness. Having spent personally over 6 years homeless and on the streets, I am well familiar with the lifestyle. What we have out here along the roads with the cardboard signs, over 90% of what we're dealing with is urban campers and career vagrants. If we were to manage to effectively write some ordinances and enforce those ordinances, remove these from the streetscape, there's more than enough money to take care of all the homeless out there that are truly homeless and truly in need. But a lot of this is just a lifestyle choice, and we need to take a firm stand on it.
All right, Dave, thank you. And the moderator sees no platforms for rebuttals, so I'm moving to closing arguments. And Harriet, you will close first. You have 1 minute for closing statements.
Okay, first I want to thank the League, and I want to thank the audience. This has been a great experience. Instead of a closing statement, I want to respond to what Mr. Palm said about homelessness, because homelessness is an increasing concern, and it is a very complex issue, and it doesn't have a simple solution, but it's something that I have some expertise in, and I feel like we need to do things like increasing the access to stable and affordable housing for people who are experiencing or are most at risk of homelessness. We need to increase access to education and meaningful and sustainable employment for people who are experiencing or most at risk of homelessness. We need to implement evidence-based practices in terms of housing, like Housing First and crisis intervention teams, support nonprofit and religious entities that are working with the homeless, and address the issue of affordable housing. And I think that that's very important. There are many other very important issues, and I look forward to leading Arvada in addressing them all.
Harriet, thank you. Mark, your closing statement, please. 60 seconds.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for your moderation. Thanks to the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum. You've heard us discuss some important issues tonight, and they are important issues. You know, we do surveys of our citizens to get feedback on where they think the city is, and I can tell you the majority of citizens in Arvada feel like we are moving in the right direction, and I'm proud to have been a part of that. I believe that we live in an incredible community, and I believe that my role, both locally, regionally, and on a statewide basis, puts us in a much better position in this city to be able to face the next 4 years. I have a proven track record. I'm able to lead a city council. You know, I hear from other mayors about how horrible their councils are. And frankly, I think part of my leadership style is why we have the city council we have and why we have such a cohesive style that we have. Find out more about me at markwilliamsformayor.com, and I humbly ask for your vote this year for re-election. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Dave, finally, your closing statement, 60 seconds.
Thank you, Mark, for hosting or
My pleasure.
moderating this, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for this opportunity. I am the only candidate from Arvada, the only one with firsthand experience in plutonium cleanup at Rocky Flats, the only one that's ever managed multifamily and Section 8 housing. In addition to 15 years' experience in finance and insurance, I've also owned a small Arvada business in the IT industry for the last 35 years. Again, my top 3 priorities: number 1, fixing our roads. We can fix our roads or we can repair our cars. We can fix the roads by allowing the highly regulated retail marijuana sales in Arvada under the term pot for potholes. I believe we need to start respecting our citizens by empowering citizens with the creation of an ombudsman that would help the citizens deal with city issues and city problems, and making it easier to get issues on the ballot. We also need to shut down the Urban Renewal Authority. There is no more slum and blight in Arvada, and urban renewal is being used as the development arm of the city, and that is not a correct usage.
All right. Dave, thank you. I would also like to thank the League of Women Voters for their extensive preparation, to our audience tonight for being respectful of our process, and to the candidates for mayor of Arvada, Dave Palm, Mark Williams, and Harriet Hull. Thanks to you all for your time. Coming up next is the at-large race, so please stay with us. Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Kubrick, and this is the Arvada City Council At-Large Candidates Forum. The City Council At-Large is elected by all residents. There are 2 candidates running for City Council At-Large, and we will meet them now, Bob Pfeiffer and Jeff Cannon. We're going to ask each candidate to introduce themselves in our opening statements. And gentlemen, you will have 1 minute, 30 seconds for your opening statement. And Bob, you will have the opportunity to go first.
Thank you. And thank you to the League of Women Voters for having this evening. This is a great opportunity for our citizens to get to know us as candidates. My name is Bob Pfeiffer. I've been on council since 2011. I'm seeking my 3rd and final term in this seat. I have 25 years in telecom and leadership experience that I bring to the table, and focused around engineering and operations of large organizations. I have found over the last 8 years as your elected official here sitting on the City Council a great responsibility to the citizens of this position in this council. And I believe that the citizens expect that we are continuously improving this community at all times. And I look forward to a future with this community. I look forward to addressing a few of my major concerns, which are around transportation, affordable housing, and inclusivity, which I believe is an important topic for our community to continue to focus on into our future. Again, my name is Bob Pfeiffer, and you can find me at electbobpfeiffer.com. Thank you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Jeff, also your opening statement, you have 1.5 minutes.
Thank you, sir. My name is Jeff Cannon. I'm running for City Council candidate at large. I thank the League for their support and their help to put this forum on, because the more information we get out, the better informed people can be, and the better they can choose the right candidate. A little bit about my family is I've lived here all my life. In fact, I'm fifth generation Arvadan, and my family has just always loved Arvada. We've loved living here, and we care about this city, and so we want to continue to see that everything is good with Arvada. I went to Arvada High, I went to Metro for my undergrad, and I got my master's at CU. So I've tried to stay a local boy and try to do what I can. I served on the Arvada Planning Commission here, and I've served on 3 of the Arvada Chamber Boards, and currently president of Arvada Sister Cities. So I care deeply about what's happening in Arvada, and I know we have some issues that we need to address. There's always issues that we need to address, but if we seek intelligent information and communication with each other, I think we can do a lot to make that happen. Thank you.
All right, Jeff, thank you. We'll move to questions now, and each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to each of these questions. And thanks again to the League of Women Voters for supplying our questions this evening. And Jeff, you get the first question. You get to go first with the first question, I should say. That question is, what do you believe is the top challenge facing the city of Arvada today, and how would you address that challenge?
Well, like I said, we've got a lot of issues that we need to address. We've heard about some of those already, traffic, and we've heard about homelessness. And one of the issues that I was concerned with was the single hauler trash initiative. I felt that that was a monopoly that we were bringing into the city, and anytime you have a monopoly, you usually have higher prices and less choices, and it's a way that, you know, corruption can seep into the city. So I didn't support the trash initiative. They've taken that off, but, you know, without strong leadership, that can creep back in again and again. So we need leaders that are going to stand up for the citizens and say, we want to make sure that prices are their best prices, and that you get the quality products that you deserve, and move forward with the city. So that's what I think is one of the issues. You know, we've heard other things like affordable housing. We've heard about business and development. Those are all issues that, yes, we're going to face and we're going to continue to face. But what it's going to take is, it's not going to take, you know, just quick and dirty answers to what's going to happen out there. I mean, you can't just solve these problems overnight. What you need to do is have a lot of thought and a lot of communication, bring in the citizens for a lot of planning. When I was sitting on planning commission, we used to bring the citizens in for all our discussions about that, and it made all the difference because our comprehensive plan became so much better. So what we need is people that'll bring those citizens forth and make this thing better for everybody.
Jeff, thank you. Bob, the same question to you. What do you believe is the top challenge facing the city of Arvada today, and how would you address the challenge?
Thank you, Mark. There are several challenges for the city, but the one that is the most is around traffic. Let's just call it what it is. It's traffic issues in our city. And I believe that the way we will address it is through innovative transportation, and we need to continue to focus on the largest issues first. And when we talk about transportation, it's not just how smooth the road is, it's how we operate the highway system. It's great if you have a smooth road, but if you're sitting there, that doesn't do us any good. So we need to continue to focus and encourage our team at the city to look for innovative ways to move traffic through the city, and also give equal access and availability to get to mass transit or transit options through our city. As many of you may know, half of our city does not get serviced by RTD at a regular basis. We have 3 buses Monday through Friday on the western side of Ward Road. We need to see more frequent buses heading out towards the western part of our city. We are the 5th largest front range city, or in the metro area. We're the 7th largest city in the state, and yet half of our population doesn't have consistent access to mass transit. So if we really want to focus on traffic, we need to continue to encourage our partners at RTD to service our citizens holistically, not just in key areas. Or the city will have to step up and it will have to figure out a last and first mile service to get our citizens to that, to reduce our congestion. There are several issues we're investigating. I know that the city, we have several times talked about options to start some sort of service, and I want to continue to talk about those issues. But if we can operationally improve our traffic systems, we mentioned traffic lights earlier, and if we can encourage improved transportation options, that's how I feel we can address congestion in our city.
All right, thank you. And Bob, the next question is yours to respond to first. That question is, the entire metro area is experiencing a need for more affordable housing. As a city council member, how would you address the issue for the city of Arvada?
So this is a great question. It's one of my top 3 issues that I'm running on this year is affordable housing. And the one thing I appreciate the most are partnerships. And how those are defined are completely different, and they can be handled differently. It doesn't need a single solution or a traditional solution. There are developers and builders, and there's organizations that can partner with the city and partner with each other to solve a common issue. A good example of it, there is a builder that gives 1% back on their houses for hometown heroes. First responders, nurses, and teachers, that builder on their own have created a discount program to get folks into their house. Why can't the city continue to partner and find innovative ways to bring those innovative solutions that are industry driven to the forefront? So we need to continue to highlight those innovative builders and those innovative homeowners that are finding ways to stay in their homes and the ability to afford a new home and an ability to upsize if their family's growing. And I applaud those folks that are willing to partner. So we got to find different ways of handling it. I don't think that the city has to always be the one who has to subsidize or has to waive tap fees, the traditional, what they consider subsidizing housing. I think we just need to continue to find those innovative approaches and work and collaborate with the private market.
All right, thank you. Jeff, now the same question to you. The entire metro area experiencing a need for more affordable housing. As a city council member, how would you address the issue for the city of Arvada?
I think the question is not so much how do we do it as how we communicate it. And what I mean by that is the fact that there are a lot of programs out there. There's a lot of first-time buying programs out there. There's a lot of federal programs out there. There's a lot of state programs. Colorado Housing Finance Authority, FHA, VA. There's tons of programs out there, but the problem is not everybody knows about them. And I think that what we need to do is communicate those issues, those programs to the young people that can't afford housing right now and say, hey, there's these programs and which one best fits you. So I don't think it's for lack of trying is what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is the fact that we have these programs here, but nobody knows about them. Sometimes they're the best kept secret. And so we need to expand that a little further and make sure that that those programs are out there. The other thing we can do, when I served on Planning Commission, again, we dealt with the comprehensive plan, which is kind of the city's plan for how everything is going to kind of shape up. And one of the things that we could do is set aside different areas for more affordable or higher density type housing that people would be able to afford, because it would be tighter but closer housing, and younger families might be able to get in as a starter home. So I would say that between the comprehensive plan and communicating the existing programs, there's a couple of ways that we can solve or at least address some of the affordable housing issues. Thank you.
All right, Jeff, and you will get this next question first. Arvada is a great place to live, work, and play. As a city council at-large member, what will you do to ensure that the city of Arvada continues to thrive?
I think the biggest thing is people on council need to care more about the citizens than they do about themselves. And unfortunately, I'm not sure that's always the case. I mean, people think that their ideas are the citizens' ideas, yet have they polled them? They've talked to their friends, they've talked to other people, but they haven't necessarily talked to, you know, the bulk of Arvada to find out how they really feel. I mean, I've been walking for like the last 60 days and talking to a lot of the citizens, and it's been great because this is, you know, I've met some great people out there. And, you know, not everybody listens to them, and the problem is we need to hear what they're saying because they're the ones that make our city great. So for me, it's a matter of just going out and talking to the citizens, continuing to have like open houses, you know, more forums. I mean, it doesn't have to end with the election on November 5th. It can continue on, and we can talk to our people about what kind of things we want to see that make our city great. I think that the people in Arvada are the best. I asked a guy one time, we were talking about a volunteer opportunity, and we were discussing how many volunteers we could get, and he was saying, you know, in Lakewood I can get 20 volunteers, and in Denver I can get, you know, 30 volunteers. And he said, but in Arvada I usually get over 100 volunteers, and that's the way our people are. Our people are those volunteers that care about the city. And so as long as we continue to have those people, we will have a great city. Thank you.
All right. Bob, the same question to you. Arvada, a great place to live, work, and play. As City Council at-large member, what would you do to ensure that the city of Arvada continues to thrive?
I think we need to continue what we've been doing. If I was to bring up work first, I would encourage that we protect our zones for commercial and retail establishments. I think we need to continue to focus on places that allow small businesses and companies to come and thrive in our community. That gives us somewhere for people to work. Those zones, if they become small, let's just say downtown centers in different parts of the city, that creates a place to live, which is a sense of place or a sense of community. And I think that that's where people like to live, is feeling like they can walk and window shop and see small businesses thrive and be able to be outside and enjoy the Colorado air. And then lastly, when you talk about play, we need to continue to invest in our parks and our trail systems. That's what makes Arvada very unique. We have a park almost every 10-minute walk from every house. That's been our goal. That should continue to be our goal. We reinvest in our playgrounds. We make them accessible, even ADA accessible. We invest into making an inclusive community. And that's how we get work, live, and play accomplished here in Arvada. And that's what makes Arvada feel special.
Thank you, gentlemen. I have a general news question with the League's permission. As a reporter, I've had a lot of mail from businesses in Old Town. And a lot of those businesses are telling me that they're worried that Old Town is not developed to its full potential. And I'm wondering if you share that view, if you think the city can do anything to enhance development in Old Town, or do you think Old Town has reached its possible physical limits and financial abilities? And I'll start, this time, Bob, I should start with you. Go ahead.
Okay. I think Old Town as we know it, so if we put limits of where Old Town is, I think it has hit its potential. I would not change its character. I would not encourage its character change. There's a few pockets maybe where the old Griff's was, maybe need a little help, but I don't think there needs to be much more change than what's there today. There's what we call New Town, which is down towards the movie theater and down towards the highway. You know, maybe that changes over time, but the character of itself of Old Town should never be touched. That is our jewel. That is our character. That is who we are. That's when people think of Arvada, they think of Old Town and the water tower, and we need to continue to protect what we call the proper Old Town area.
Jeff, Old Town at capacity, underdeveloped, overdeveloped?
I think it's probably just on par for what's happening. And what I would say is that what we need to do is continue to preserve the history in our Old Town Arvada. I think a lot of times we trade new development for, older buildings that may not be in perfect shape, but those older buildings a lot of times have a lot of history that newer buildings just won't have. They won't have the character, they won't have the ambiance, they won't have anything. And so what we need to do is continue to let Old Town develop as it should, but I think we need to also preserve the history that they have there. And like I say, there's a lot of history in Old Town, and if we embrace our historical past as well as the present, I think we'll have a nice blend.
All right. So, gentlemen, time to move to closing statements. Each of you will have 1 minute to speak. Jeff, you will speak first. Why should the citizens of Arvada vote for you?
I think the reason that I ran was, first of all, that I care very much about what happens in Arvada. Like I said, my generation was the fifth, and we've cared. My dad was a B-29 bomber pilot and a businessman here in Arvada. My grandfather was a dairy farmer who delivered milk during the Depression to families who didn't even have, couldn't even afford it. And he also brought in the Rural Electric Association. So, my family cares, I care, and that's what I think is important. And the reason that you might consider electing me is because I want to make sure that what's good for Arvada stays in Arvada, and that we take care of all of our citizens. And thank you.
All right, Jeff, thank you. Bob, your closing statement, if you will.
Thank you. And thank you to the League and Mark for having us tonight. My kids are fifth generation Arvadans. We're vested in this community. I see serving my community is a volunteering activity. This is what we do. I'm a volunteer to the community, just like Jeff said earlier. We all volunteer. But through this process, I became the chair of DRCOG, the Denver Regional Council of Governments, and I learned more and more as sitting up here the last 8 years and with the Denver Regional Council of Government, the importance of transportation, regional collaboration, and how we don't live just in our little island out here. And because that became so important to me, I spent 25 years in the private sector, and I know how important it was for everyone, that I actually left the private sector. I let my wife negotiate my pay cut, and I joined the Department of Transportation because I felt passionate enough that I can take the information I've learned, the passions I have, and apply it to a new profession in my life. And I want to continue to do that. And I continue wanting to connect our community to the region and do what's good and make sure we protect our quality of life. So thank you, Mark.
Thank you. So the moderator sees no cause for rebuttal. I believe the League concurs, and they do. So, gentlemen, thanks to both of you. Thanks to the League of Women Voters for your time tonight. Thanks to both of you. Good luck to both of you. And coming up next is the District 2 race, so please stay with us. Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Kobrick, and this is the Arvada City Council District 2 Candidates Forum. So let's meet them now. Ethan Lutz, T.O. Owens, and Lauren Simpson. Thanks to all of you for your time tonight to be part of our forum. We're going to ask you to introduce yourselves and tell us why you want to be a member of the Arvada City Council. You will each have 1 minute, 30 seconds for your opening statements. So Ethan, you will go first, and then T.O., your opening statement, and then Lauren, that will be followed by your opening statement. So Ethan, if you will, your opening statement, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the league for giving me this opportunity. Thank you to my wife for putting my kids to bed. I grew up in Alaska in a family that was fairly politically motivated or oriented. My parents did a lot of campaigning, a lot of fundraising for local elections there. They were very involved in the local assembly there. It's a little different than it is here. But I really want to get into city council here because of my youth mostly. I have a really fresh perspective on things, and I want to take this to use it to face the issues that are kind of presenting themselves to Arvada, which we've heard a lot about tonight, and I'm sure we'll get into again. Growth. Arvada needs to grow responsibly. It's growing fast. Jefferson County is growing fast. And everyone in Arvada comes here because of the high quality of life, and that needs to be preserved. The charm and the atmosphere as well. That's why I moved here 3 years ago from Denver. I came here for college over a decade ago, and I fell in love and never left. So something refreshing about me is I'm not an expert. I don't consider myself an expert in politics or a politician. But in the end, I'm what we should be. Is just a representative of the community with really a strong connection to the community, and that's where I come from.
All right, Ethan, thank you. T.O., your opening statement, please.
Thank you very much. My name is T.O. Owens, candidate for District 2 in Arvada. I'd like to thank the league. I'd like to thank my wife, Patty, my girls, Emily Ann and Meredith Kay, who've certainly put up with a lot the last few months, my family and friends for all of their support. I'm running for city council because of my wife. In 2004, we were living in a house that we moved into in '99. That home was in the floodplain for Ralston Creek. 2 square feet of that home was in the floodplain, and we had been promised for about 6 years at that point that we had the floodplain would be relieved by a bridge over Ralston Creek. And as I sat reading the Arvada report one morning, and there was a discussion in the Arvada report of why that project was being delayed, I had a few choice words for the city of Arvada. And my wife walked in and said, we have a new family rule. We're not allowed to complain unless we're going to do something about it. I'm afraid that she probably rused that day. I was placed on a Citizens Capital Improvement Committee. After that, I served on steering committees for Ralston Road and Ralston Fields. I spent 8 years on the Board of Adjustments here in Arvada and the last 4 years on the Planning Commission, where 3 years ago I was elected as chairman of the Planning Commission. I have helped lead a number of efforts in Arvada, and I would like to continue to do so, and I ask for your vote tonight. Thank you.
All right, T.O., thank you. Lauren, your opening statement, please, 1.5 minutes.
Hi. First, I'd like to open by thanking the League of Women Voters, as well as my husband, Stephen, who takes care of our incredible daughter, Tabitha, so I can be here tonight, as well as everyone who has supported me so far. I'm running because, I don't know about you guys, but I'm absolutely appalled by the modern political environment. The toxicity, the poison, it has started to seep into who we are, and I don't like that. We have to see a change. We have to be a change. And there's an old saying that in order to be a change, you have to be the change you want to see in the world, and that's why I decided to step up and run. I work in diplomacy, quite literally, for a living. I help promote North American diplomatic relations for the benefit of us all. I work across the aisle. I work with Democrats, I work with Republicans, I work with independents. And that's something that I think I can bring to city council, everyone from governors and senators all the way down to city council's grassroots people, businesses, industry. I've worked with all of them, and that's something, an experience that I want to bring because I think that I can, and I think that I can help advance this community for that reason and because of that. I want to be a voice for young families. It's not just about us. It's not just about this 4-year term. It is about the 40-year term and what is going to be in this city when my daughter grows up, and is this going to be a community that she wants to live in and can be able to live in. That's why I decided to step up and run, and I would love to ask for your support.
All right, thank you to all candidates, and we'll move to questions now, and I'll point out the questions are provided by the League of Women Voters, and they are in the room tonight. And each of you will have 2 minutes to respond to each question. And T.O., the first question will go to you as we go through ballot orders here. The question is, what do you believe is the top challenge facing the city of Arvada today, and how would you address the challenge?
Thank you very much. I am fairly confident the top challenge that we face in our city is transportation and growth. And I think they're intertwined indelibly. And I think what I would say is that I'm going to continue doing the work that I've done. So in the last year, I led the 3F campaign, which is going to widen Ralston Road. It's also going to widen Kipling from 72nd from Kipling out to Sims and provide an underpass there, which was vital for public safety. That's the responsible way for us to address transportation in terms of new roads. We are going to address 2 of the biggest hitters. We'll pay those off, and then we'll do the next 2. Our city has more than $250 million of outstanding infrastructure needs, and we can't possibly hope to address them all at once. But we can pick them off one at a time, do the most impactful, and then continue on. We'll also need to address our aging roads. 2 years ago, we only devoted $6 million to road maintenance. This year, our council devoted $10 million to road maintenance. If I'm elected, I will support the increase of funds toward road maintenance up to the $15 million a year that our staff is telling us we need to have. Added to that, our growth, our development is tied strongly to the transportation needs. And so in my role on the Planning Commission, we've gone over a number of projects in the last year and approved a number of projects that are done well. And I think about Haskins Station, which is going to be close to the Wheat Ridge light rail station. That's a great project in terms of producing housing that's going to be close to mass transit. All of those things together in a system will help alleviate our transportation bottlenecks and make our road system better, and that'll make our lives better. Thank you.
Thank you, T.O. Lauren, the same question for you. Top challenge facing the city and how you will address it.
So I think a lot of the top challenges facing our city are housing affordability and infrastructure. And as Tio said, those issues are quite intertwined. So with housing affordability, this isn't just affordable housing. This is housing that meets the needs of all of the people who live and work in this city. That's going to be some of the nice homes out in West Arvada that are new development, but also the workforce housing. Where do our teachers live? Where do our firemen live? We want to make sure that everyone who works in this city can afford to live in this city. So how do we do that? How do we accomplish that? I think we have more room for density housing, particularly in Southeast Arvada, where we have some urban blight and some infill that is ready for development and some creative solutions. I think we have a lot of opportunity there. And we have opportunity to work with our developers and our local businesses in order to create solutions that create some affordable housing stock in those areas. We also have our infrastructure, and that's not just our roads, that's going to be our sidewalks. As I like to say, one of the most, it's a bit of a joke for me that I lost all the baby weight after my daughter was born because the sidewalks walking her around in her stroller was like an obstacle course. But what's not a joke is when I see seniors walking in the road, when I see persons in wheelchairs in the road because the sidewalks are not safe for them. I don't think that's funny at all. So I think our sidewalks are something that we need to repair, and we need to repair them now. And there is a program going on with that, but we need to advance that quickly. So focusing on our infrastructure, building out our existing infrastructure, as well as looking at ways to alleviate traffic so that we can maintain our roads for longer is deeply important to me, and that's something I'll be committed to focusing on in the long term.
All right, Ethan, now the same question to you, the top challenge facing the city and how you would address it.
I'm going to go ahead and echo also what Tio and Lauren said. I think growth, though, in general is going to be the biggest issue facing Arvada. And as they mentioned, that is intertwined with transportation, not just roads. And there's lots of roads where there's not sidewalks, and there's bikers in the roads, there's walkers in the roads. It makes it difficult. It makes it difficult to walk around Arvada, which is why people like coming here for the trails and the parks. And as Councilman Pfeiffer mentioned, they're all within 10 minutes. I think I've got about 4 within my house. With that growth, though, we have to measure that with the affordable housing, as Lauren mentioned. But the thing about Arvada is, and follow me here, we want people to afford to come to Arvada. We don't want people to come to Arvada because they can afford it. And by that, I mean, if you get too ahead of yourself with this growth and this development, and you start building larger and larger developments and housing, whether they're affordable or whether they're not, whether they're, you know, larger scale condos, higher rent, stuff like that. All those issues that you're challenged with that growth, you're just going to exacerbate them all. You're going to have more traffic. You're going to have more damage to your roads. You're going to have more people on the bike paths. You're going to have more homeless people, honestly. So being able to tackle that growth responsibly and measure it against commercial development, because with all the homes, as it was mentioned earlier, people want somewhere to go. They want somewhere to window shop. They want their own neighborhood. And it's gotten to a point where a lot of neighborhoods in Arvada here, they don't have that sense of home, that sense of feeling where they have somewhere they walk to where they can go to their doctor or buy socks, which I do in Old Town. But like they mentioned, the growth of Arvada is going to be a big challenge, and all those issues can be tied into the one.
All right, Ethan, thank you. Our next question involves a topic that is trending and has been for several weeks, not only across Colorado, but across the country. It involves vaping. And Lauren, this question goes to you first. The impacts of vaping have become a major health concern, not only in Colorado, but across the country, primarily for our younger populations. Do you support increasing the age to purchase vaping materials to 21? Why or why not?
I do. With vaping, what we've seen is that it's not just like cigarettes where you smoke and over 30 years you might develop lung cancer. What we're seeing is people within 3 years are dying, and this is terrifying to me. This was presented as a healthier alternative to get people off cigarettes, and it might literally be killing people. This is not seeing the regulation, the safety studies that it has needed to see in order to ensure that it is safe for everyone on the product, and for young bodies, for developing bodies. That terrifies me as a mother. So I would absolutely support raising the limit to 21, which we widely deem as the standard of wise decision making in this country for illicit substances such as alcohol, etc. But I would also support taking it perhaps a little bit further than that. There's been a lot of talk now and some progress on removing the flavors that appeal to children, as well as the marketing that appeals to children. This is something that had to happen with the cigarette industry, and alongside a widespread education campaign, over time we saw that become tremendously successful in reducing the number of smokers in this country and saving countless lives and countless amounts of dollars for our healthcare system and thus our government system as a whole. So I would support doing that, and I would also support holding businesses that sell to minors accountable, because this is a public health issue and we need to take it very seriously.
All right, Lauren, thank you. Ethan, the same question to you. Do you support increasing the age to purchase vaping materials to 21? Why or why not?
Well, in Arvada, I would probably say no, and I'll tell you why. From what I've read, a lot of those recent sicknesses, which are few and far between, are the majority marijuana related, and I believe it's to the vitamin E oil, and as Lauren mentioned, the flavors. So you have, one, it's a small percentage of people. Two, if you're going to raise the age, which another point I would make is I would say that's almost out of the scope of City Council's responsibility. As Mr. Palm mentioned, people are just going to go somewhere else to get it. They'll just go down to Edgewater or Mountain View, and they'll come right back here and vape at their house all they want. I think if you really wanted to discourage kids from doing this, which I'm all for, I think education is the best way to do it. My wife actually did use vaping to quit smoking years ago. I was very proud of her for it. I encouraged her for it. She's healthier now because of it. And cigarettes on a daily basis harm tens of thousands more people than vaping. And while it is certainly an issue that's been in the headlines and it does need to be looked at, I don't think certainly raising a arbitrary age to purchase in Arvada is going to discourage youth from frankly doing what they've probably already made the decision to do in the first place. So.
All right, Ethan, thank you. Now, T.O., the question to you, given the recent health concerns raised by the practice of vaping, particularly among our younger populations, do you support increasing the age to purchase vaping materials to 21? Why or why not?
Thank you, Mark. I do support raising the age to 21. This is an issue that's near and dear to us. My wife is a teacher and faces children even vaping in the classroom on occasion. I have 2 teenage daughters at home, and we address this issue pretty regularly. Alcohol use, drug use, vaping are all things that we talk about at home on a regular basis. And I encourage all families to do so. I think it's important to have these discussions at home. And it's the mark of what parents should do. However, government is sometimes there to help parents. And in this case, I would completely agree. I think that flavors are an issue, and I do think that the marketing to children is why we're having these vaping issues in our community and in our schools. And anything we can do then to help stem that in the schools and stem that in our community is important. And so, yeah, I would. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, T.O. Let's move on to our next question. And Ethan, this question will go to you in our round-robin order. Arvada is a great place to live, work, and play. As City Council at-large member, what will you do to ensure that the city of Arvada continues to thrive?
Man, I don't think I'm going to make the at-large seat, but in District 2 there, I will say I'll echo what the mayor mentioned earlier, is going around talking to people and canvassing and getting to know people in the neighborhoods. By and large, a lot of people are very happy with the situation that they have here in Arvada, and they feel that Arvada is thriving. But to keep it that way, I think the transportation issues are going to be one of the biggest things to be addressed. That and respecting commercial development, because that's what makes a city thrive, is tax revenue from businesses. And when you have good businesses, you have people that want to move here and live here and make it their neighborhood. And when you get people that are proud of where they live, you end up getting even stronger, closer built communities. Again, I'll just echo the parks are very important to myself, my neighborhood, and maintaining that walkability and that kind of feeling you get about Arvada when you come here. Everywhere you drive, you're like, oh, there's another park. You're like, there's no, like, who are they named after, you know? I mean, there's so many of them. So I think that's what people like to see. That's what people want here. And I think just kind of maintaining what the people ask for is the best way to keep the community thriving.
All right. I apologize. I put you in the wrong race there. So
Yeah, thanks.
that's one mark against the.
I'll forgive you.
So I penalize myself. All right, T.O., same question for you. Arvada, a great place to live, work, and play. What will you do to ensure that the city of Arvada continues to thrive?
Great, thank you, Mark. What I will do is continue the work that I've done over the last 15 years. Placemaking is important in Arvada, and I have contributed and will continue to contribute to that placemaking if I'm elected. So we have, as we look at live, work, and play, to me, living means transportation in Arvada. Living means being able to get to where we need to go on good roads, and so I'll continue to support good transportation. Working, to me, working means providing a place for people to work, and a place for people to go and shop, for people to participate in the economy. And so what I've done over the last 4 years now on the Planning Commission, is protect our commercial environments and our light industrial environments, and make sure that we continue to have retail spaces in our developments. And then parks. And parks are really important. In fact, the most important thing that I think that I hear is how important parks are. I've talked to a bunch of younger people, and I always ask them, what did you expect when you came to Arvada, and what did you find? And lots of young people say, oh, I love Old Town. I wanted to move to Arvada to be an Old Town. And then what they found was, we have all these wonderful parks. Our city charter actually says that no domicile should be more than a 10-minute walk from the average person to a park. And I'm happy to say that we fulfilled that when we built Britton Park and Griffith Station Park in the last 5 years. Those are both places that I had a hand in, and I'm proud of those things. So that's what I'll do. I'll continue to do the work that I've done.
Great.
Thank you.
Lauren, same question for you. What will you do to ensure that the city continues to thrive?
So believe it or not, my platform is actually Live, Work, Play. So I know this one pretty well. Live is housing affordability and diversity of housing stock, making sure that we have everything for all of our residents' needs, no matter what stage of life that they may be in. Work is supporting our local community businesses, our small businesses, making sure that they have the resources that they need not only to get started, but also to thrive and stay competitive, as well as insisting on best value city contracting to ensure that all the people who work in this city have the ability to live in this city. And then play, as Tio identified it, it is placemaking, everything from our incredible historic Old Town, which has an authenticity and a realness to it that I think is very attractive to all of us and is one of the reasons why Arvada was named the coolest suburb in Colorado. We can all be very proud of that. And it's our parks, but it's more than just that. It's also our bike trails, our public transportation, all of the things that make this city connected and all of the things that make this city work well together as a cohesive whole that make it attractive to be here. So that's what I'm focused on. It's everything from the Arvada Center, making sure that it is supported and continues to have the resources it needs to be one of the premier performing arts centers in the state, which I'm very proud of is in District 2, and continuing to develop so that all of our neighborhoods don't just have a park that's walking distance, but have restaurant choices and other things that make pocket neighborhoods that make you feel like you have a community. That's what makes this city special. That's why we all love living here, and that is what is going to make this city continue to thrive in the future.
All right, with the League's permission, I'd like to ask a general news question. And this question concerns the recent growth cap in Lakewood. I'm curious to know, as you campaign, if residents in Arvada are looking at the growth qualifications now in Lakewood, if they are admiring it, if they are worried about it, given the impacts it could potentially have on the city of Arvada, or if they're just generally ignoring it. And let's go in reverse order of closing arguments, which are coming up. So Ethan, you would go first.
Thanks. I actually have not heard much from people about the Lakewood cap, but what I have read about that Lakewood cap is that it has some kind of counterintuitive complications to it, possibly. When you limit growth like that, what can happen is you end up forcing the people that are living in and running your town to live outside of it. And what that can end up doing is now you've got a heavier commute and more traffic in the morning, because the people that come in and run the city, since this growth cap came in, they can't live there anymore. In the housing market also, with that cap, you're going to drive up the demand. So with the demand coming up, your prices are going to come up. And now, if you're already trying to tackle the problem of affordable housing, which a lot of people are, now you've got a market that's already driven prices up, driven stock down, and the people that are there, they have to choose to live outside of town. So.
All right. Ethan, thank you. Lauren, I'm wondering if you're hearing any concern from voters in Arvada about what is coming for Lakewood, or if you've heard very little and voters are ignoring it.
So I actually have heard about this some. Obviously not all voters are aware of it, but I have heard some sentiments in support of it and some against it. I will say that the sentiments in support of it do concern me greatly. As Ethan noted, it does drive up prices, and as somebody who is deeply concerned about the future of this city and being able to bring young families into this city to build the future for this city, a growth cap initiative is the wrong way to go about it. We want this city to be inclusive for anyone who wants to be here to contribute, to be a part of this city. We want to be able to welcome them and give them a place. We want this city to remain affordable for people on all ends of the spectrum. We are not Lakewood, we are not Denver, we are not Boulder, we are Arvada, and we need to be such.
Thank you. And Tio, finally you, voters talking about the potential impacts on the city of Arvada given the caps in Lakewood.
Well, thank you very much. I've had a number of voters bring this issue up, and my response is always the same. Our average growth over the last 40 years is 1.2%. We're experiencing a large percentage of growth at the moment, between 5 and 6%. We've done that over the last 4 or 5 years. However, that's Arvada. We grow at a rapid rate, and then we grow at slow rates. And the nice thing about that kind of pattern is we're able to catch up with our infrastructure during that time. So as we're probably coming to the tail end of expansive growth. We're going to be able to catch up with the infrastructure, give ourselves a chance to fix the roads, to increase capacity and reduce the traffic.
All right, thank you, candidates. Let's move to closing statements now. You will each have 1 minute for your closing remarks. The question is, why should the citizens of Arvada vote for you? And T.O., you will speak first. Sorry, I caught you.
You did,
It's
thank
my-
you.
my-
Yeah,
I should
it's
have-
all right. No, that's totally fine. Thank you, Mark, and thanks to the league. You know, if there's something that I'd like people to take away tonight, it's that experience matters. As I move around town, I see places where I had a hand in a number of projects. I look at Ralston Road, Griffith Station Park, the Old Town Light Rail Station, Britton Park on the east side of town. The new roads that are going to be built are expanded in 3F and that 3F brought to us. And I'm most proud of the Fitzmaurice Rec Center that I helped bring to South Central Arvada. That kind of experience, you can't get overnight. It takes years of work in a community to get that kind of experience. And I will continue to work hard for our city, and I ask for your vote tonight. Thank you.
All right, Lauren, your closing remarks, 60 seconds, please.
Well, first, again, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting us again tonight. Experience does matter. I have a lot of experience not just working on campaigns as well as in government relations, but also in this community. I serve on the District Accountability Committee for Jefferson County Public Schools. I volunteer with the Keep Old Town Beautiful trash pickup once a month. There are things that we do in this community. Experience matters, but so does creativity, so does fresh vision, so does bringing change to our city. And I want to thank everyone who has been a part of this city and everyone who wants to be a part of this city, because we're all in this together. Why should people vote for me? I'm not focused on a 4-year term. I'm focused on a 40-year vision. I don't just want this to be the city where I want to raise my daughter. I want this to be the city where my daughter wants to come back and raise her daughter. And every single decision I make in City Council will be focused on that vision. Thank you.
Thank you. Ethan, finally, your closing statements, 60 seconds.
Thanks for moderating. I'd like to thank the league for inviting us. I'd like to thank all the candidates and all the people here for taking the time to come and listen. I'd like to say I might not be the most experienced person here, and I might not have as many connections as some of the other people you've heard from tonight, but I can guarantee you one thing. I've always promised to be honest, faithful, and 100% transparent. I made that promise to my wife about 10 years ago, and I'd make that promise to Arvada as well. As Lauren said, I have young kids, and they're going to be growing up here. And frankly, if I could get your vote, I'd be looking forward to raising my children to grow up in the same Arvada that I'm going to live in today. So, thanks.
All right, thank you. Thanks to all the candidates this evening. Thanks to the League of Women Voters for our questions tonight. And to be very clear, these are the candidates for District 2 running for election. Coming up next, the candidates for District 4. So please stay with us. Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Kobrick, and this is the Arvada City Council District 4 Candidates Forum. Let's meet the candidates now, David Jones and Jordan Hohenstein. Gentlemen, we're going to ask you to introduce yourselves and why you want to be a member of the Arvada City Council. You will have 1 1/2 minutes for your opening statements, and David, you will go first.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum tonight. I'm running for re-election to Arvada City Council District 4 to continue providing strong leadership for the future of Arvada, to continue building an economically strong city, to encourage continued investment in Arvada, to continue building long-term plans for infrastructure and maintenance, to continue bringing city partners and citizens together to discuss high-impact planning issues, and to continue to connect our community to what we hold dear, a place we call home, where we can live, work, play, and learn every single day. I've been married to my best friend and confidant for 21 years. Together, Ann and I have made Arvada our home. We live in the Leiden Rock community with our 2 sons and our 2 dogs. In my day job, I am the president and CEO of Sancio, which is headquartered right here in Arvada with 120 employees. With growth and change comes challenge. We've seen a rise in homelessness in our city and questions about housing affordability and taking lasting care of our infrastructure. These are 3 areas of great concern for me every day as I work to find solutions that are reasonable and sustainable. We may disagree how to best solve these issues, but if we all agree we love Arvada and want to keep it moving forward with great optimism, we have to work together. I am David Jones, and I ask for your vote and your support. Thank you.
All right, David, thank you. Jordan, now your opportunity, your opening statement, please.
Hello, it's good to be here tonight. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. This is an important event, and I think it's important that the voters get to see us firsthand or be able to watch us online. It's funny to be sitting next to you, Mark. I grew up watching you on television.
You were a
several
very,
times
very small child.
so now I'm here next to you, so thank you for
Thank
moderating
you.
this. My name is Jordan Hohenstein. I am a Colorado native and a lifelong Arvada resident, and I'm running for Arvada City Council District 4. For too long, our current leadership has passed bad deals that aren't reflective of what a lot of our citizens want and need. They've paid interest to big developers and outside interest groups instead of listening to the voice of our people. It's left our city divided. It's left people feeling left out, excluded, or unheard by our current council. And I want to change that. From bad deals like the $30 land deal to the Jefferson Parkway, to the increasing cost of living and the lack of affordable housing, our city needs change and progress. And I want to deliver that progress. I have years of experience in our community working in politics and as a leader, and I have a comprehensive plan for Arvada that builds upon the best qualities, promotes growth, and represents the values that so many of us care about and fight for. I'm ready to fight for better, safer deals that act in the furtherance of our city, and I hope you'll join me on the way. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Let's move to questions now provided by the League of Women Voters for our forum tonight. Jordan, in our rotation, this question goes to you. What do you believe is the top challenge facing the city of Arvada today, and how would you address that challenge?
I want to speak directly for the top challenge that I see facing District 4, which has been the passing of several bad deals, including the Jefferson Parkway, and our traffic issues. I go around our community, I go around Leiden Rock, Candelas, Five Parks, Ralston Estates, and people have voiced their concerns about the current council's support of the Jefferson Parkway, their fear of it, their confusion over it. I reflect some of the same sentiment myself, and I take it very seriously. So when I think of the top issue that's affecting just District 4, that also affects our entire city. I think it's a reflection of the judgment on council. I want to pass better deals and smarter judgment so that we don't have issues like this moving forward. While the Parkway is temporarily on hold, it's only temporary as of now. And I want to pass a vision that's inclusive of better decision-making moving forward, and that also includes our traffic, which is why we wanted to pass the Jefferson Parkway. We heard our mayor speak earlier about the finalization of Indiana and 72nd. I live right there, so I've had to endure dealing with the construction of that, and I'm thrilled that it's finished. but the traffic's kind of just migrated down Indiana towards Candelas, to all the new homes over there, the new Starbucks, the new 7-Eleven. I want to pass a transit-oriented plan that makes sure that we can commute all over our city and that truly mitigates our traffic problems.
All right, Jordan, thank you very much. David, top challenge for the city and how you will address it.
Thank you. Yeah, in District 4, there are several issues, one being traffic. It's been talked about a lot tonight. And as our traffic moves north to south, we've got a lot of roads in Arvada that are shared with CDOT, with Jefferson County, and the city of Arvada. Anywhere you see a curb, a gutter, and a sidewalk, the city of Arvada has been there through a development, through a new development, and it's because of these new developments that we can bring in these curbs and gutters and these sidewalks that allow people to move. And as been mentioned tonight, the money that's been spent on a CDOT road at 72nd Indiana is paramount to moving traffic north and south. There are other roads that obviously move north and south in Arvada. And I think as we look at those roads like Sims, there would be a lot of takings of homes along that road in order to improve that road. And so where can we push that traffic to? Those are the kinds of things that are important as we look at the transportation and infrastructure of this city. The other thing is really the services to the northwest side of town. The people that have moved to that side of town are clamoring for services. Where can I go to the doctor? Where can I go to the dentist? Where can I get my nails done? Thank goodness for King Soopers of making an investment in Northwest Arvada to come in, because now those kinds of services are beginning to take place. Just the other day, I went to the ribbon cutting of an orthodontic office, which is in the northwest, way northwest part of Arvada. Here is a person, an entrepreneur, a business person who's willing to take a risk and bring her service to West Arvada. Those are the kinds of things that people in Arvada are asking for, and those are the kinds of things that I'll continue to fight for, and to fight for those business owners to come and open their services and bring those services to West Arvada.
All right, David, you mentioned King Soopers. Then this question, very logically, in our order, goes to you next. As a city council member, would you support the ban of plastic bags in the city of Arvada? Why or why not?
Well, that's an interesting question, and as I've traveled around and gone to different places, when you travel to Hawaii and you go to the store, they charge you 15 cents for a bag. When you go to China, where I've been quite often, they charge you for a bag. And they do that for the sole purpose of controlling the number of bags that they put into the system. I think that a lot of people today are carrying their own bags to the grocery store. They're carrying the bags that actually they're easier to carry than the plastic bags. So whether or not the city bans it, I don't know that that's necessarily a function of the city to ban a plastic bag. I think it's responsible business. I think we leave that to the business to ensure that they're providing some way for people to carry their goods out of their stores, but I don't believe it's the city's job to ban what and how that store, what they create for you to carry out. If they want to charge you for it, that's of course their prerogative to do so. And so I think that, really, that's not a city service. That's not something the city should get into. And if the individual merchants want to do that, they'll do it.
All right, David. Jordan, same question for you. Do you support the ban of plastic bags in the city of Arvada? Why or why not?
I do support the ban of plastic bags in the city of Arvada. I think that any policy, anything that we can pass that protects our environment, that reduces waste, is something I've supported my entire life. I was raised with an innate sense of environmental literacy, so anything we can do to reduce our waste and our impact on our environment is a top priority for me. For me, I've been doing that for years. It might seem uncomfortable. Some people are against it. It might seem a hassle, but it really isn't. And when we see, videos of where our trash bags end up, it's hard to forget them, especially the next time you're at King Soopers. So I don't want to just move to making it so that customers are being charged for it. I'm all in for completely banning them in Arvada.
All right, Jordan, this question goes next to you in our rotation. Arvada is a great place to live, work, and play. As a city council member, what would you do to ensure that the city of Arvada continues to thrive?
Well, again, I want to speak directly for District 4, which has a unique living situation by being devoid of affordable housing options. We have one place that considers itself an apartment. It's more like a high-priced condo unit. Other than that, there's no density housing. There's no affordable housing. It's single-family homes that start at $250,000 and up. That's great, but it's not great when we can't have any millennials move to our city unless they're making high income like that. For me, especially as a millennial, I'm the only millennial of my friends who still lives in Arvada and still struggles with my own rent because my friends can't live here because we don't offer those options. I believe it is part of a city government's need to offer all affordable housing options that can be offered. I don't think there's anything negative about it. I think it speaks to who we are as a community, as a government, and as a leadership body. So if we want to thrive, especially in District 4, we need to make sure that we are letting everyone thrive. And by not having affordable housing, that also trickles into racial disparity, socioeconomic disparity, so on and so forth. So my idea of a thriving city is one that's affordable, attainable, and inclusive for everyone.
All right, Jordan, thank you. David, same question for you. Arvada, a great place to live, work, and play. As a city council member, what would you do to ensure the city of Arvada continues to thrive?
Thank you, Mark. I'd like to add one more thing, which is learn. Arvada is a great place, and people love to be in Arvada. They love to live here because of the parks. They love to live here because of the connectivity. They love to live here because of all of the things that Arvada has to offer. Old Town is an amazing amenity. I would love to see an Old Town in Candelas. I'd love to see that feel like a Larimer Square, a placemaking spot in the northwest side of Arvada. People love to work in Arvada. Like I mentioned, I have 120 employees who come to Arvada every single day. A lot of them live right here in Arvada. They love to be here. At lunchtime, they go out on the Van Bibber Trail and they walk. They frequent the establishments in Old Town. People love to work in Arvada, play. There are so many things to do in Arvada. The Ralston Creek Trail, it's amazing. It's amazing to walk it. It's amazing to ride it. And the views that you get when you're up on the Blund Reservoir area. Learn. Red Rocks Community College, Jefferson County Schools. People come to Arvada to learn. It's an amazing place, and I'll continue to encourage all of that. The challenges are the traffic. We've got to help alleviate some of the traffic concerns. We've got to create mobility for people to move to and from, so that when they get home, they're not so stressed out from the commute that they don't have a good evening or they can't go out and enjoy it. So we've got to make sure that we have a strong focus on traffic and moving traffic. We've got to ensure that we've got places like Five Parks. That's an amazing community where they live, work, and play right in that community. If you haven't been to some of the restaurants in Five Parks, you've got to go. They're hopping. The people that are there, it's just an amazing place to live. And I would encourage council to continue to consider those kinds of places. That's what we need here.
With the League's permission, I'd like to ask a general news question. So this is a question that I solicited from residents in District 4. First of all, statement of fact, baby boomers are turning 65 at the rate of 10,000 a day now. And many communities in Jefferson, I'm one of those. Actually, I'm way past, I'm in the community and way past the actual marker for the turn. But many residents in Jefferson County, including Arvada, have been cited as desirable places for people of a certain age or older Americans to live. And those are based on many factors: transportation, income, opportunities for older Americans. My question for you is, given that Arvada and the county in which it resides already has one of the largest senior populations in the state of Colorado, do you believe that seniors are properly served or underserved in your district? And we'll go to closing in a minute. David, you'll speak last, so I'll let you answer the question first. Overserved or completely served in the city of Arvada?
I think that we can always serve our seniors better. My mother just turned 81 on Sunday, and she falls into that category. And all of the services that she needs are here. The challenges for her are making sure that her walks are shoveled in the wintertime and that she can get around town. But I believe that the city of Arvada does a very good job of ensuring that our seniors are served every single day. they've created programs called Snow Buddies. So if you have a neighbor that happens to fall into that category and you've got some extra time, go over and shovel their walks so that they can stay at home. So they don't have to, they can age in place, as it were. So I believe that Arvada continues to look at that every single day.
Jordan, same question for you. Older Americans, properly served or underserved in the community of Arvada?
Well, I agree that there's always more that we can do, so I would say that our seniors can be underserved. This is particularly impactful with my family and our situation. On my mom's side, her mom can't afford to live in Arvada. Arvada, especially again in District 4, has a penchant for putting up luxury retirement homes or apartment complexes. That's not the reality that so many people of an aging population can't afford. So if we are asking if all seniors are being overserved or underserved, I would have to say no and group it that we're not doing enough. So when we are offering those options for everyone, including those who can't afford to live in those specific apartment buildings, then I think we'd be serving them correctly. I also, time expired.
Yeah, that's okay. Good. Thank you for being mindful of the clock. All right, let's move to closing statements now. Each of you will have 1 minute for closing remarks. Jordan, you will speak first. Your closing statement, if you will.
So my campaign's logo is going further. So for me, going further means doing the most, doing the best, and doing the most good for everyone, regardless of their age, their gender, their sexual orientation, their ethnicity, their religion, or their income level. So I think Arvada can do more for the dispossessed and for everybody else across the spectrum. I see a progressive vision for our city where all these issues are vital to everybody and affects all of us in different ways, but affects others of different minorities disproportionately. So if elected, I pledge to go up against some of these bad deals, some of these more antiquated ideas that we've had, to pass better, newer ones. And you can learn more at Jordan for Arvada, that's the number 4, District 4, jordanforarvada.com. And I appreciate the League of Women Voters and for you to host this.
Thank you. Thank you, Jordan. David, your closing statement now.
Thank you very much. Growing up and raising my family in Arvada is a privilege and part of who I am. No family, no school, no neighborhood, and no community can thrive and grow without a responsible and involved citizenry. I'm running for re-election for Arvada City Council District 4 to continue building a stronger city, a closer community, and an even safer place to live and raise families, to continue inspiring citizens to invest in their community, to continue providing a strong economic future for Arvada, to continue building long-term plan for infrastructure and maintenance, and to continue bringing city partners and citizens together on high-impact city planning issues, and to continue connecting our community to what we hold dear. Help me do so with your mail-in vote by November 5th. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to speak up, pitch in, and reach out by going to my website, david4arvada.com, and learn more about me and why I continue to be the right choice for Arvada City Council District 4. Again, thank you. I'm David Jones. I appreciate your vote and your support.
And those are the candidates for Arvada City Council District 4, David Jones and Jordan Hohenstein. Thank you both for your time tonight. And this concludes the Arvada Candidate Forum. Election Day, I will remind you, is November 5th. All active voters will be mailed a ballot between October 14th and October 18th. For your convenience, there will be an outside ballot drop-off box at Arvada City Hall, 8101 Ralston Road. If you choose to mail your ballot, be sure it's mailed early enough to ensure that it arrives by the deadline on Tuesday, November 5th. For more drop-off box locations, as well as the nearest polling center, go online to jeffco.us/elections. For candidate and ballot information, please consider using vote411.org or the online voter's guide, which will be available starting on October 8th, 2019. The guide provides a side-by-side comparison of the candidates for all of the Colorado races. Thanks to the League of Women Voters tonight. Thanks to our audience for being so courteous and respectful of our process. And thanks to all of the candidates as well. And thanks to you for watching.